Sometimes budget phones are more exciting to review than flagship phones, especially when you have a phone like this that comes at a price point that is far less than what you expect it to be and has specs that are rivaling some flagship phones out to the market. I'm talking about the Poco X5 Pro 5G. I've had this in my hands for the past couple of weeks. Of course, it has been announced today. The embargo is up for us here, at least in Singapore. And I gotta tell you, this is a very, very impressive phone, especially for the price point. This comes in around 469 Singapore dollars, which I believe is gonna be around 300 to 325 USD, depending on the conversion rate. And you are getting a 6.67 inch FHD Plus AMOLED display. You're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of onboard storage. There's also a 6 gigabyte 128 version as well, which is slightly less expensive. I have the 8 gigabyte version with me. You're having Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. You've got high refresh rate, 120 hertz refresh rate on this. You've got quick charging, a 67 watt charger inside the box on this. You got a really nice build quality, a 108 megapixel camera, 8 megapixel for the wide and 2 megapixel for the macro. MIUI 14, which is basically Xiaomi's latest UI for their Android. 5,000 milliamp battery life. That is the same battery that is in the all-new S23 Ultra, which I'm testing out right now, by the way. Fantastic phone. And all coming in at a price point of 469 Singapore dollars or 325 USD.
This video is brought to you by MSI. Meet the Summit E16 Flip, featuring the latest 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, RTX 30 series graphics, and a 16-inch Quad HD Plus touchscreen panel with a 360-degree hinge. It lets you unleash maximum productivity with up to 11 hours of battery life at just 2 kilograms. The Summit E16 Flip offers unprecedented performance and functionality, allowing you to work and play anywhere, anytime.
So this is what 4K 30 looks like on the Poco X5 Pro 5G. Now there is no steady video mode on this. When you hit steady video, you go to 1080. But the phone itself does have some stabilization inside of it, as you can tell by the background. Now you're going to notice the colors are a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more saturated, maybe a little too much depending on your likes or dislikes. For me, it is a little bit over the top, but I definitely could still use this. It's very bright outside, hence why I'm squinting. I probably need sunglasses. But just giving you an idea how the microphone sounds and also how the video quality is on this. Now we're going to switch to the front-facing camera. So here's the front-facing camera. And we can only go 1080, as all Xiaomi phones are, regardless if it's Poco or not. But stabilization is still pretty good on this, not too bad. One day Xiaomi will get to 4K for the front-facing camera. Not yet, but so far so good. I would say the colors look a little bit less saturated. Could be just the phone screen, a little bit less saturated on the front-facing camera than on the rear, but we'll find out when I throw this into Final Cut for the video editing. Talking about photos for a second, let's talk about that. Night mode works relatively well. You're going to notice some flaring coming from the lenses, sometimes from street lights. That's something that you are going to notice. And I would say overall the image quality is really good. Portrait mode is surprisingly really good. I really liked with portrait mode how it performed. I mean, it really did separate the subject from the background in a very natural way. And of course, you can adjust the aperture. 108 megapixel mode works great as well. A lot of great details. So yeah, I have to say, I'm very impressed with the photos that this camera takes. Again, slightly saturated, but that is something you can adjust in Lightroom or Capture One or whatever software you're using. Whereas video, maybe a little bit less, even though it's H.265, you might have a little bit less flexibility on video. Anyway, back to the review.
This is exciting because, you know, you get a phone in your hands like this that costs this low and it does a lot of things really well. And I'm not just crediting Samsung, by the way, but why does a phone like this have to be almost over 2,000 Singapore dollars? Or the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is well over 2,000 plus Singapore dollars. Now, these are both great phones. But a phone like this can come in at 469 and give you a lot of performance, not exactly the same, and I'm not going to say it's exactly the same, but a lot of the performance that these two phones can give you at a third of the price, or an eighth of the price, or whatever it may be. My math, I'm not great at math, but you know what I'm saying. That's where this really comes into play. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the phone, the features, what it's like to use. I'm not going to go too in depth because it is, you know, it is part and parcel. Pretty much, if I was to compare this to a phone that we might have used, if you're used to Xiaomi phones, maybe the Mi 11 or the Mi 10 Pro or the Pro T or whatever they call them these days, because they got various different names. It's in that ballpark. So it's probably a couple years old in terms of technology. When you look at it, that it's still relevant today, even with the Snapdragon 778G processor, which is pretty much the same that is in the Nothing Phone 1. I would definitely get this phone over the Nothing Phone 1. Hands down, wouldn't even think twice. This is better built. Got this really cool light display in the back of it. It feels great. It almost has like an iPhone build quality to it. Really well done. The cameras on this aren't that good. Can't even face unlock. It doesn't even recognize my face no matter how many times I do it. I mean, firmware update or not, doesn't really recognize. This works on a variety of different levels. Now, in terms of the build quality, the back of this is more of a plastic feel to it. It does feel a little bit less expensive. I like the two-tone colors on this. You got yellow and black. You also have a blue and you have a black version out there. I kind of like the yellow and black. It's got a little bit of a bumblebee vibe. You got this yellow power button there as well. It's very lightweight, 181 grams, easy to put into the pocket. You forget it's even there. The size is really good at 6.67 inches, I mentioned earlier. Now it's an FHD plus display, so it's around 2400 by 1080. To be honest with you, most content that we watch on our phones nowadays isn't even 4K. It's 1080 or 720. So when you're watching YouTube videos or, podcasts on Spotify, what have you, or even your TikToks or Instagram Reels, this is fine. You're not going to miss a beat. Get your P3 color gamuts, sRGB color in this. You've got the Dolby Vision that kicks on when you need to, Dolby Atmos or Dolby Sound, whatever it is. It all sounds good. Now the speakers on this don't sound as bassy as, let's say, the iPhone or the Samsung for that matter. That's where you're going to get, pay a little extra money. You're going to get better sound out of this. The speakers sound a little bit more, they're pushing the treble a bit more. There's lack of bass, but you can customize a little bit in the equalizer, but it's still not as good as some of the other phones, but it's loud. What else? Battery life on this is fantastic. More than a day usage. Easily more than a day. Day and a half. And you can charge from 0 to 30% in 7 minutes. Because Xiaomi, or say Poco for that matter, but it's a subdivision of Xiaomi anyway, still gives you a charger in the box. And they don't ask you to buy another one, but they're giving you a 67 watt charger in the box, which can easily charge other devices that you have. Whereas other manufacturers who want to be eco-friendly, but they actually want you to pay more because, their phones become more powerful and you need fast charging, so you have to buy another charger. They don't include them in the box and they charge you a premium. Xiaomi says, we're going to give you the charger in the box with this. Food for thought, isn't it? It's very interesting how some of these phone manufacturers work. That's a topic for another discussion and another day, but I will tell you what you get for this phone if you're looking for a secondary phone, backup phone. Maybe times have been tough with inflation. Job security isn't there. You're like, look, I need to get a new smartphone, but I don't know what to get. I don't have a lot of money right now. Don't feel bad. Honestly, some of these phones, to me personally, have gotten way out of line in terms of price points. Yes, there's a lot of great technology in them, but they're very, very expensive. But if you need something that's going to tide you over, that's going to give you good image quality to take photos with, you can do your videos, you can do your Instagram Reels, your TikToks, you can take phone calls. It's going to last you all day in terms of battery life, and you're not going to break the bank. Check this out. If you like this review, subscribe to the channel and check out more of our videos right here.